Welcome back to Storytime. In today's episode, we're going to be continuing our theme of summertime using the prompt, "You're resting on a sandy beach with a bucket of iced beers when a sea creature emerges from the waves. It sits down next to you, grabs a beer, cracks it open, and takes a swig. The creature sighs and says, 'You would not believe the day I've had.' And I enjoy this prompt so much that I actually decided to write a story for it myself. So here is my story. The waves lapped peacefully up the warm stretch of sand. One of the nicest things about living in Malibu was that I could go down to the beach every day. I had my surfboard stuck in the sand and was leaning my slightly sunburned back against it when the creature rose from the ocean. I cannot accurately describe what the monster looked like, because just thinking about it filled me with a dread I cannot utter. It was huge, a giant hundreds of feet high, and yet seemed to shift and distort size horribly before my eyes. It seemed both terribly far away and horrifyingly close at the same time, both huge and tiny in a way that hurt my brain. The monster had a weird bulbous cephalopoid head that seemed constantly in motion. It pulsed and rippled like there was some turbulent sea under its pallid and slimy skin. Tentacles writhed and twisted madly around a horrible hole of a mouth. Even as I looked into that gaping maw, I felt the monster draw the air. I felt a terrible sense of vertigo, like I was falling without end as I looked into the blazing eyes and horrid mouth of the foul thing. In shape, its body was humanoid, though nothing at all like a human being. It looked like a rendering of a human body sculpted by a madman with no idea as to what makes humans human. The proportions of its limbs made no sense. How could such a bulbous, saggy body be raised so on such twisted, malshapen legs? I was aware of the other beachgoers around me screaming, running, but their voices merely added to the terror and the chaos of the horrible thing that now stepped with an impact that would shake the earth to its core from the pounding waves onto the land. The skies had turned red as blood. The clouds seemed to be made of fire. The seas boiled. Surely this was Judgment Day. For 1,000,000,000 lifetimes this creature had waited in the deep reeking pits and the darkness between stars and the lightless depths of the ocean where only the weird and alien creatures of the deep knew of it. This thing that was older than man, older than God, older than time itself. I had felt my senses slipping away from me. Logic was dead and meaning had no meaning. The world that had existed before was gone, burning away like a dream that has ended. There was only madness, only darkness. Twisting, churning, breaking, biting, madness. Everything that was true was false. Nothing made sense. Everything was chaos. I threw myself to my knees, wanting it to end, wanting to die, so that this madness would abate. I could feel myself chanting words I didn't understand. The sound of them was terribly repellent to my ears, and yet somehow they seemed as if they had always been there, had been written into the back of my skull long before the degraded sea creatures ever stepped foot on land. This was the ancient language of the basest conception of the words of a god. My body writhed as the creature approached. I was no longer in control. There no longer was any control. I was a polyp. I was nothing. I felt like I wanted to peel off this fleshy prison, to tear away these trappings of a world of light and progress. From the oceans we had come, and now the primordial seas were calling us home. The fish which had long ago been bred out of these mammals called man were back. I was trapped in this terrible prison of bone and flesh. I was chaos. I was a part of the twisting madness that filled... A beer bottle had opened. Very slowly I turned my head to the harbinger of my death, who had seated itself next to me and was now sipping from a beer bottle that had got out of my cooler. "You would not believe the day I've been having." Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, go ahead and hit that like button. And for more Storytime episodes, tune in every week for more stories. And until next time, I'll see you later.